do, do. Hey, okay. It looks like I'm live. Hey, hey, hey. Well, I decided not to try that Facebook thing again today. So I'm going through this thing called StreamYard, which allows me to stream it onto Facebook and share it on my YouTube channel. So that's what I'm going to do. So, told you it's going to be sick of me. So here we are, day 3 of the 30-day wealth challenge. And today I'm supposed to tell you why I started my business. I think it's why and what it means to me, something like that. It's in the title, but I don't remember. That was a long time ago when I typed that. But anyway, I started making dolls because, well, actually, I didn't start with dolls. I started with a Santa Claus for my mother for her desk at work, and from that, and looking for a pattern for that, I ran across all these doll patterns, and they were like, ew, ooh, whatever. But anyway, fast forward, that was 1997, and I'll show you what he looked like. So this was him. Isn't he ugly? I made him, and I was like, don't ever tell anybody that I made that. He had fur for beard. I forget what he was stuffed with, but it wasn't stuffing. And when she died, she still had him, and she still pulled him out every Christmas. So from there, um, I kind of saw some stuff, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of cute. So the next thing I made was teddy bears. So this little teddy bear, can you see him? I made this for one of my bosses when I was working at Stanford. Her name is Elsie. So I used, I forget what that lace came, everything that she has except for the flowers and the hat was, see if I can get it close up, was something I took off of something else. So it was recycled. And I made the glasses. And isn't she cute? Her name was Elsie. So that was 2001. That was 1997. So fast forward after that, that Santa Claus stuck with me. I think I went through maybe 5 different versions of him before I finally got what I would make now if I was still making them, which I do upon request. But after that, then it was Easter time. So I started making rabbits. I made this rabbit for my sister. She liked peach, and it's got peach sequence. Her name was Peaches. So that was 2000. I think that was 2000 when I made this. And then right after that, she got sick. My sister, my oldest sister, and she was in the hospital. And I don't know. I just wanted to have something with her when she was in the hospital. So I made her this angel. And as you can see, this angel, this is actually my sister's hospital bed. And you can see the tape where it's taped around the pole. That's my daughter taping it back up. But the whole time she was in the hospital, whenever she went to have a procedure or dialysis or whatever, the nurses or whoever would take that off the bed and take it, put it on the gurney she was on, take it where she was, and when she came back, they would put it back at the foot of the bed. So that angel stayed with her the entire time she was in the hospital. And when she passed away, we buried it with her. So her and Angel are in heaven together. But her favorite color again was peach. And I found that little peach charm, and then this little gown. And then the gown is more like a toga type deal. And my sister had these ulcers on her legs. But if you lift up this little dress, and I didn't know it until she had had it for a couple of months, there was some string left on it from when I made it, and the string was in the exact same places that the scars were on her legs. It's like kind of creepy, but it was cool. But anyway, in my conversations with my sister, she was talking about how hard it was to find dolls that were cute and they looked like us, and she was buying dolls for my 2 daughters. And from there, I remembered those ugly dolls that I had found when I was looking for a pattern for my mom. And I came across a pattern. The pattern was actually for a Cupid doll. I don't know, I might be aging myself talking about Cupid dolls, but If you know what a Cupid doll is, you know they're funny looking. They have little, well, the pattern had an embroidered face and a patch of hair here and a patch of hair there and a patch of hair there. And whew, it was a funny looking thing. But I was like, I can do something with that. So what did I do? I made it my own. So this is my version of the Cupid doll. I meant to find the pattern and show it to you, but it's jointed. It has little dimples in the knees. It has little dimples in the arms, kind of bow-legged and pigeon-toed. I'll tell you about that pigeon-toed story in a minute. But this wasn't the first doll. I think this was the second or the third. But this is the oldest one that I have a picture of. That's Little Debbie. Don't look like okay. But anyway, Little Debbie was how the doll started, but I called them cutie pies. Cupid doll, cutie pies. Yeah, you know. But this one, what I did at that time was those are the movable eyes. So every time you moved it, her eyes moved. And my daughter was like, Mom, that is really creepy. And then I painted the face on. And then I don't know if you could really see, but she's got on eyelashes. Yep, they had real eyelashes, like the ones these women walk around now looking like caterpillars, but they didn't look like caterpillars. Look, caterpillars back in the day. So this was in 2000. So I've been making dolls since 2000. I'm gonna stop there, but from there I went to a 29-inch doll, and then from the 29-inch doll, I took that pattern and I took the Cupid doll pattern and I combined them together, and then I made a printout of my hand. Oh, something bit me. A printout of my hand and shrunk it down and put it on the doll because I figured the doll they needed fingers. I didn't like those little mitt things. That wouldn't work for me. And then they also didn't have ears, and I figured dolls, you talk to them, so they need ears to hear what you're saying. No, I'm not crazy with that. This is my philosophy. Fast forward, well, back up. Paddlefoot. Where does that name come from? Well, I'm Paddlefoot. And basically, when I was a little girl learning how to walk, my dear sweet uncle, my one and only uncle, God rest his soul, I miss him to pieces, he started calling me Paddlefoot because I walk like a duck. He said I waddle. So he called me Paddlefoot. And then when I made my first doll, and she had those same pigeon-toed feet that I got from my grandmother. My grandmother gave them to my dad. My dad gave them to me. I gave them to two out of three of my kids and most of my grandkids. I don't know about the last three, but the other ones, most of them are also pigeon-toed. So we all share that. But that is where Paddlefoot came from. And the sewing, the cosmetology. I wanted to go to school to be a cosmetologist, but instead I got a job that I stayed at for 16 years. And so the dolls became my clients for cosmetology. But the sewing came from my mother's mother and my mother, who were both seamstresses. The Paddlefoot name came from my grandmother. The artistic whatever came from both sides. My daddy was a cartoonist and calligraphy and you name it, he did it. But basically, that's how I got to this point. And as I started making them, the original name of my company was Paddlefoot Evolutions because every time I make one, I either figure out a way to make it simpler or I revise it and turned it into my own, thus the evolutions. But then who knew what a Paddlefoot Evolution was? I had to figure out how to put dolls in there. So when you see the name, da da da, it's a doll. So Paddlefoot Dolls. So it's been a lot of different names, but I changed it this year to Paddlefootz with a Z and dolls and things because I don't just make dolls. I do plastic bag holders, I do tissue covers, I do brooches, I do keychains, I do ornaments. A little bit of all that behind me. So those things hanging from the tree, those are ornaments and keychains. Those little dolls down there are what I call the tiny tots. So I have 5 different kinds of dolls, but basically I do this, or my passion for this is the peace that it brings me because it relaxes me, it keeps me sane, and it gives me something to, something to do. And you can usually tell what kind of mood I was in based on the details that the dolls have. But it's my passion, and then I love to see, especially older, because it's not dolls are, you think they're for kids, but they're really for everybody. Because I've had a lot of older ladies that their faces light up because A, they didn't have a doll when they were growing up, or they didn't have a black doll when they were growing up. So they're like, well, what am I going to do with a doll? So that's why I started making plastic bag holders. So plastic bag holders, the top half is a doll, the bottom half is a lady with a purpose. Um, let's see, what else? I guess that's it. And then right now, my goal, or my what I want to do, what I'm gonna do, let me change that, is I want to start teaching children, 6 and up, to sew and to make dolls. That's one of the reasons I'm doing the workshop. But my long range future goal is to create like a group of people. Hey, Francine, that did you not know that story? A lot of people don't know it, and that was another reason this is timely, so to speak. Because the lady asked me the other day, why, where did this come from? And when I started explaining, she's like, "Girl, you need to tell that story." So, today's day number 3 post telling the story. But all the people basically that are the reason that this took place are now upstairs looking down. Hopefully they're upstairs. Hmm, I believe that alone. But basically they have all gone on to glory, and hopefully they're proud of where our conversations started and how they have continued since they have left this earth. And as I said, you're gonna be sick of me, but until tomorrow for day number 4. Peace and blessings, y'all. See you later. And this is the one that takes forever to finally shut down. Oh yeah, I did my nails. They all the same color. Woo, that's a, if you know me, that's a rarity. Oh, I have to hit it twice. They didn't make me do that before.